Jehovah's Witnesses jailed as extremists for practicing their religion in Russia. On July 29th, 3 Jehovah's Witnesses were sentenced to 6 years in prison in Rostov-on-Don in southern Russia. They were charged with organizing schemes related to extremism. 2 of them are a father and a son, Villain, age 68, and Arson, age 37, Avanasov. Arsen Avanasov received an additional charge for collecting donations to pay for a room that serves as their makeshift church. Arsen was charged with, quote unquote, financing extremist activities. Both international and Russian-based human rights watchdogs, including religious organizations, are appalled by the Russian government's actions. The former ambassador of the UK to Russia, Sir Andrew Wood, describes Russia's extremist labels as, quote, having no credible definition. So I wanted to talk about this story for several reasons. First of all, the persecution of Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia is extremely well documented. And I'm very passionate about talking about the abuse of religious minorities across the world. And it's important that we highlight this in Russia as well, because you don't hear about it as often. And it's also very interesting and important to talk about the abuse of Jehovah's Witnesses because they are also a cult. The Jehovah's Witness organization, or also known as the Watchtower organization, is a destructive organization that is explicitly harmful and teaches destructive beliefs and practices to their members. This is a group that I completely oppose. They are probably one of the most widely just accepted and normalized cults in the world because they've been around for a very long time. And talking about the contention between a group that is a destructive cult and how a state should handle these types of groups is something that I think is extremely important to talk about. So when there are destructive, harmful groups like the Jehovah's Witnesses, maybe Scientology, maybe some more Eastern-oriented cult like the Rajneeshis, if you watched the documentary Wild Wild Country on Netflix, for example, you'd be familiar. A lot of people see organizations like this and they're like, well, the government should do something. They should just ban this organization. And I am someone who is very passionate about educating the public about destructive influence and destructive cults, right? And I completely oppose that approach for a multitude of reasons. One, it just punishes people for their beliefs. It's authoritarian, and don't have that orientation. I'm anti-authoritarian. And also, it doesn't teach people how to think for themselves. It's actually doing the opposite. It is telling the people that the state should think for you. I oppose that. And I could just go on about this for a long time. And it's also important to talk about this because destructive organizations like the JWs use the persecution of their members in other countries to actually bolster their own reputation outside of those persecutory countries. So we see this in similar groups like Falun Dafa, or also known as Falun Gong, where they use the severe abuse that their members face in China actually as propaganda for marketing. And the JW organization is guilty of the same thing. So Armin, do you have any thoughts on this?
Why is Russia's government so sensitive about Jehovah's Witnesses compared to other religions? Like, why is this?
I can give you a very good answer.
Tell me.
And we're going to touch on this later in the show as well. Governments or states or leaders with an authoritarian bent have a concerted interest in controlling groups that have allegiances outside of a loyalty to the state or their leader.
Yeah, but it seems like Russia, yeah. But like China, for example, is very consistently against, like, crashing. I mean, but by the way, guys, we're not endorsing this. I'm just saying, like, seems like Russia has a bone to pick with Jehovah's Witnesses more than other. Am I like, I've seen stories like this a couple of times. Like, is there? Am I? So I don't actually know what the data is. So this might be completely wrong. But is it like Russia just like very anti Jehovah's Witness more than other things, or am I just imagining that?
Yes, they are.
They are.
They've
So why is it
basically
specifically Jehovah's Witness that they are so sensitive about?
because of, well, kind of for the reasons I said before, but Jehovah's Witness is like broadly a Christian belief system, but it exerts an insane level of control over its members versus other Christian organizations. And they also have very I mean, not to be all Catholic on you, not to go all Catholic, but they have very deviant beliefs, like deviate from the orthodoxy of common Christian thought. And there's a massive emphasis in the Watchtower organization on recruitment. It's one of the most important things that the members do as members or the organization is to distribute propaganda for the organization. So again, very authoritarian states would have an interest in not allowing that type of behavior.
And when they say jailed as extremist, how do they define extremism? Because we're talking Russia here. I mean, like the,
Well,
I mean, yeah.
like they're accused of financing extremist activities when they're trying to like raise money where they can have an underground church, so this is exactly that question is exactly why the international community gets up in arms about instances like this. This isn't the first time that this has happened to JWs in Russia, because to quote the former ambassador of the United Kingdom to Russia, Sir Andrew Wood, he says, quote, "Russia's goal is repression, not the exercise of justice." Like everyone has that exact same criticism as you did. It's like, wait, by what definition, by what standard? Besides the standard of they do not fall in line in the same way with what I want as an authoritarian state. Does that make sense?
Yes. I just think, like, is Jehovah's Witness an actual threat? It's amazing that they take these actions so preemptively before it becomes a problem, because I don't think it's a problem right now. Right? Like, these people are so paranoid about losing control that they don't even wait for something to be a problem. Like, this is control. This is a group that we have no control over, and it's coming from outside, so it needs to be destroyed. It's like, okay, or chill.
I mean,
Yeah.
If you were trying to like play devil's advocate, so to speak, they say like we have a concerted effort in our citizens not falling prey to very destructive organizations that do promote legitimately and objectively harmful, very harmful beliefs, and on so many different levels. But obviously the two of us would completely oppose this approach. It doesn't work. First of all, like Australia tried to ban Scientology within the continent of Australia. I don't know if it's still banned, but it didn't work. It just goes underground, and it actually fuels the persecutory delusion of groups like this, and they use that to legitimize their dogma.
And also, you're doing a lot
create
of
weird thought reform patterns within their members as well.
And also, you're doing a lot of marketing for them, because now they're on the news and people are now curious. If you try to make them illegal and then you didn't succeed, now that it's not illegal, you managed to get them so much coverage that now that it's legal, people now have to go check it out. Some people have to go check it out. So that's how. Yeah. Anyways, anything you want to highlight in the live chat before we go to the next news?
AGA was saying that they are not currently banned in Australia.
Not banned.
I believe that happened in the 70s.
Yeah. But the attempt and the failure.
Mhm.
the attempt and the failure of banning them would be the best marketing for them possible.
Oh,
Anyways,
she's also correcting me. She's saying they, meaning the Australian government, never tried to ban Scientology, just removed tax exemption. I must be misremembering something I learned in a documentary. Thank you for that correction, AGA.
okay.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.